Welcome back to Module 2 of our course on setting up a local yoga or Pilates or other local business. I'm Marie Page and Module 2 is all about your website. A lot of yoga teachers have no previous experience of creating or managing websites, so this can be hugely daunting for them. And I think the thing that a lot of them tend to do is just talk to some family, friend, or other person that they know and who is a bit technical, who knows a bit about websites, and commission them to create one for them. Now, occasionally this can work extremely well, but quite often what it means is that you get a site that's really suboptimal as far as Google is concerned. It's not done with the very latest kind of technology, and it's not going to perform as well for you in search. And I see so many websites from yoga and Pilates teachers that frankly look extremely dated, very clunky, not logical in terms of their navigation, and are just not giving a good impression of how good the classes are. Website looks terrible. I have someone whose classes I absolutely adore, but her website is ancient and looks utterly awful. So you want to, I think, invest in doing a website well. And there are a number of tools out there that can help you, and I'm going to introduce you to them. So first of all, it's a choice of platform. Now, my personal preference would be to go for WordPress. WordPress is probably the biggest, most commonly used website hosting platform in the world. It's known as a CMS, a content management system. And it's an open source product, which means that you don't pay to use the code. You might buy a theme, which is like a template for the site, but you are not paying to use the code unless you are working with a WordPress hosted site. Now, let's just get some of this terminology out of the way. In order to have your website up on the internet, it needs to be hosted somewhere. So WordPress themselves will host sites, and you'll know WordPress hosted sites because the word WordPress will be in the URL, the thing that you type in with the www bit in. I wouldn't recommend you go that route at all. You want to have a site that is just called, myogabusiness.com rather than something that has the word Wix or WordPress or Tumblr or, one of these hosted platforms in it. So if you've bought your URL, your website name from something like GoDaddy, they will provide hosting for you if you like. I tend to buy my URLs from a company called 123-reg.co.uk, and they will provide hosting as well. There are loads and loads of these services across the world. GoDaddy is probably the biggest and best well known. You can choose to use their hosting, or as I would recommend if you're going for a kind of self-hosted option, as WordPress would be, is that you go for Amazon Web Services, AWS. Very, very low cost, particularly for the first year, and they are quite elastic. So it means you're only paying for what you're using rather than anything else. If you do my SEO course, in the Digiterati Academy, I go into a lot more detail about the different types of options available in relation to servers and hosting. I'm not going to get into lots of detail with you on this because I think you're either going to be someone that's reasonably technical and you understand this, or you're going to be working with a developer that will have their own preferred methodology here. So WordPress, it's free to use, but you'll need your own hosting and you will need an SSL. So it's like a security certificate so that you get that HTTPS in the URL before the www bit. It means that your site is safe and secure. And Google really does not like sites that don't have an SSL certificate. So you do need to get that. If you're using something like Cloudflare, that comes as part and parcel of that. But otherwise you can buy a certificate for, about £100 a year. And again, a webmaster, someone technical, will be able to help you with that. With something like Squarespace or Wix, that will come as part and parcel of the package that you buy. If you've not used WordPress before and you're not terribly technical, you will need help for this. You'll need help getting the site up and running and someone to show you how you can create content so you can put things into pages and write blogs and make any changes to it. I would say that WordPress is pretty straightforward once you know what you're doing. I was taught it, sat in a cafe many years ago and spent the next hour just popping things in, asking my webmaster to help me do it when I came a cropper. And within not much time, I was flying solo with it and just occasionally calling him for some help. If you want to do slightly more complicated things, that perhaps needs a little bit of extra input from time to time. But I don't think it's a hugely difficult piece of software to learn to use. There are lots and lots of free and paid for programs out there to help you get to grips with WordPress. And if you just Google them, you'll find things in Udemy or lynda.com. There'll probably be stuff all over YouTube as well. So lots and lots of resources to help you. So that's WordPress. That would be my number one choice, particularly if you're going to make any efforts at all with search engine optimization, which I would recommend that you do. That's WordPress. Then there are a number of paid for options that are a little bit more user-friendly, a bit more of a DIY option. You'll have seen some of these advertised on the TV. I've chosen a couple that are the well-known ones, Squarespace and Wix. Of the two, I would probably prefer Squarespace. It's really the designer's website. You've got lots of really beautiful templates that you can use there. Squarespace sites tend to look very, very nice. Just a few issues with things like Squarespace and Wix. You can't control anything about the back end of the site in terms of its hosting, its speed, a number of the things that I can manipulate in WordPress or a developer can manipulate in WordPress for me that to do with the technical back end of things you can't do on Squarespace and Wix. I have to say most yoga and Pilates teachers will be really happy that they haven't got to worry about all of that. Squarespace and Wix will keep you completely up to date, nice and secure. You're far less likely to be hacked on that sort of platform. So there are some real advantages to it. I've used Squarespace myself. The Valda Moses website that I talked to you about in Module 1 is a Squarespace site. It's not difficult to learn to use. Again, any developer that's creating you or helping you create a site with Squarespace will be able to help you do that, and there will be lots of free online training as well. So with these hosted sites, they come with a monthly fee, something like £10 a month, so you will need to budget for those. SEO, downsides with it, but it's not the end of the world if you choose to work with one of those sites. So it's your choice, really. Here is the top of the homepage for my website. So as I say, this is a WordPress site. It has a number of features about it. Firstly, it is responsive. That means that it will shrink to a smaller size if people are looking at it on a different size screen. So I've screen grabbed this on my super size screen from my desk. But if you were to look at it on a laptop or an iPad or a phone, it will obviously be a lot smaller, and the words may change where they sit in relation to the image. And you'll find that some things that you can see on the site on desktop, for instance, if I scroll to the next page, you'll see these images here. They will not load on mobile. We'll just have the text on mobile. So these images are not going to load, because with mobile you want a really rapid, quick website to load, and images will slow it down. Now, unfortunately, that's not me in the picture. I've used a stock image there. I do intend to get a nice picture taken of me in probably a similar pose outside, but the point at which I was creating this site, it was the winter, and I really wanted something that was more outdoorsy than something that was staged in a studio. It was quite tricky for me to find an image that was remotely acceptable in responsiveness, because quite often it would crop in the wrong place, or in order for me to put text across the top of the picture, the white text was sitting on a white thing, or it was black text on a black background. So finding that kind of key image for the homepage was quite tricky, but I will create some more pictures as I go along. I also needed something where there was lots of space around the edges, as you can see in that image. As you look at the theme that you would want to choose for your site, my theme is an Envato theme, then you can choose something that works for you. So this is how the page is starting to look. So you see I've got some photos and some text, a little bit of icons there. I've been updating some of these images just even as we've gone along. I've got a little carousel slider across the bottom which has got some real pictures of my classes in. These actually are a couple of friends of mine. The others on here at the moment are stock photos, but as I'm getting better pictures taken and I intend to have a professional photographer come and take some pictures of my actual classes, these will start looking less like stock pictures and more like my actual classes that I'm teaching. What I would say is don't let a lack of photos prevent you from getting started with a website. You can use stock photography, you can use Pixabay, which will be all free images, and they've got a reasonable yoga selection there. You'll see the little navigation across the top. So I went for something quite simple, home, yoga classes, and if I was to hover over that, there'll be a drop-down menu with like Hatha Yoga, a description of that, and how to book, and what to expect in a yoga class, FAQs, that kind of thing. So that will be a little sub-menu there. A button to book classes, so people can click straight onto that, and that will take them to Instabook to book. I've got a blog. I will show you some pages from that, about, and then how to contact me. So this is fairly standard navigation here. Home to the far right, and if you click on the logo as well, that would take you to the home. Contact and about and blog are normally towards the right, and then other things that you want are here. I've also got a deep footer in here. So again, you've got some of the key navigation. We've integrated the Google map in here. You will need a little bit of developer help for that, I imagine. And there are the 3 locations that I teach at. So I think that's kind of quite useful. And I've got the addresses there, a contact email address, and then my social media buttons as well. There's a copyright thing there, and what I haven't screen grabbed is a link to privacy policy and terms and conditions, which come underneath this little bit here. So that's kind of where it's at. You want to just think about what you want to write in your website, as well as when we talk about the SEO, I'll talk a little bit about search engine optimization and thinking about keywords as well. So if we look particularly at this homepage, yoga classes in Rickmansworth and Chorleywood, well, what are people going to be searching for if they're looking for a yoga class and they live in Chorleywood? Either yoga classes near me or yoga classes in Chorleywood. So not a bad idea to have that as the title and the H1, the main heading. That's what the H1 is. For your website homepage. Here is the blog. Depending on what size screen I'm looking at this, I might see more or fewer images. You'll see what I've tried to do is have images all the same size here. Nice variety of things. So let's just have a look at what I'm doing here. I've got some stuff about pranayama. I've got, it was an essay actually I wrote when I was training on the 8 limbs of yoga. Teaching the pranayama square, what to expect there, stuff on the bandhas. I've got some analysis of postures, so I've talked about downward facing dog, how that all works, analysis of postures for planks. I've got some images some photos I've taken, well, someone has taken of me. I've put them into a little montage. I've used the tool Canva for doing that. I've got some ideas for using the yoga wheel. I've created that using the tummy.com app. And then I teach a really nice little half sun salutation, which one of my students asked whether I could send her the sequence for that. So I created that as a little blog post. And then over here, this is one of my themed lessons. So it's just an article about what to expect, why balance is important in our day-to-day lives, how yoga can help us with balance, and just really trying to sell that particular week of themed lessons. I've done some FAQs because I think a lot of people are quite fearful about what am I meant to wear? I'm not very fit. I've got medical issues. What should I bring? All of those kind of things. So I address all of that in those FAQs. So that's pretty much it. You can obviously go to the website and have a little look around. It should be really super quick to load, I hope. It should work well on different devices, and it should be fairly easy to navigate as well. So they're all the principles of building a good site. I thought it might be helpful if you had a look with me at the back end of my WordPress website. So if we'll go to the front end first and just have a look at what that looks like. So just loading that up, mariepageyoga.com. So you can see that I have the title tab up here. I'm logged into the site at the moment, which is why I'm seeing this line across the top. And there is my nice image on the front. So let me show you what happens to make this responsive. So if I kind of make that smaller and make it look like a mobile phone screen, can you see how that comes forward? And so that kind of how problematic that image can be, which is why I need lots and lots of kind of space around. And can you see how now I've gone small, the other pictures that were there in large are no longer there. Okay, so that's all about really loading for optimized loading for a mobile phone or a tablet. There are the drop downs of my different pages. So shall we just take a look, for instance, at Hatha Yoga? My computer and my broadband speed is very slow here, which is why it's taking a while to load. And also I am doing a screen recording of this, so my computer is making things quite slow. So it is normally a much faster load than this. So you can see this is the way that my kind of template works. I've got an image, if I want to put one in to the left, a text to the right, and then I can reverse this around if I like. This is what the tummy.com lesson plans look like, and you get a bunch of statistics with that little app. I will talk about that in the module on tools. So what have I written in here? I've just talked about Hatha Yoga, the fact that I'm quite posture led, talking about the different elements that I have in my class. I think it's quite important to show some actual people that I have in my class. So I've just tried to show the variety, men, women, different ethnicities, different body shapes, different ages, just a whole range really. I've talked about what to expect in a class, talks about the lesson plans and statistics, and there is my deep footer there. And if you click to book classes, so let's click on that, that is going to take me straight to Instabook, which is my booking app. Again, I will talk about this in the tools section. So Instabook does take a little while to load. I think the servers are based in the States for a start. So you can see it goes straight into the classes. This is the student view, and you literally just click to book. So say I wanted to go to my lesson tonight, click to book, and you buy the pass. So I've got a 4-class pack, a 6-class pack, a single class, and a monthly unlimited. So people can choose how they want to pay for that class by booking those, paying for those. And the next screen you see is to get your credit card in. Right, let's just go back and we'll look at the WordPress dashboard. So what have we got here? You've got some tabs down the left hand side. So I'm in the home view at the moment. So if I click on posts, this takes me into the blog area. If I click on media, so I will click on media and you will see my library. So these are images, documents, that kind of thing that I've uploaded. So you can see I've got a bunch of different images and things that I've uploaded there. And if I randomly take this one, so this is an image that was free on Canva. You see that I've given it a file name, recommendations, pregnancy yoga. Oh, I've got scaled in there. Not ideal, but the alt text, recommendations, pregnancy yoga, title, recommendations, pregnancy yoga. Okay, and you can edit that image if you want to change the size of it. So that's the media library, and you just click to add new, and you can either drag to put things in, or you can click to upload them. If we come to pages, these are all the different pages on the website. So let's take that Hatha Yoga page that we've looked at. So we will edit that. The page title is Hatha Yoga. The permalink, so this is the URL, is yoga-classes because it's in the parent category of yoga classes, and then /hatha-yoga-classes. So I'm going for that generic keyword phrase. So if people were looking for hatha yoga, if my site gets really, really brilliant on SEO, people might see that globally, but they stand a very good chance of seeing that in my local geography. Now, my particular theme is such that on a lot of these pages, I don't have anything in this first bit here. I do on the home page, but if you scroll down, this is where the content blocks are. Title, Hatha Yoga. I've put my text in here, and you can, so say I wanted to give this an H2, so calling this, say, Hatha Yoga. I do this, type that in, select that, and say that that's an H2. Suddenly, can you see the formatting's changed, and it's now got that slightly larger type. I'm going to actually remove that because I don't want to do that. You can put bold, italics, bullets, numbering. This is all the kind of page markup that we would expect from a good content management system. So I've uploaded an image there. So I've taken that from the media library. I've said that the image is going to be on the left. Then the next block of text, what to expect in the class. There's the image for that. The image is on the right. Next block of text, image on the left. And there we are, and I can add more rows as I like. And within my particular theme, if I want to change the template from content blocks to one of the other kind of looks for the page as the option I've got, that's where I would do it. Okay, so that's pages. Let's just look at, and I'll just show you one more thing. This is Yoast SEO. So when we come to looking at search engine optimization, and we will talk about the meta description and the SERP and metadata. This is how you change it in WordPress. So you've got the SEO tab here. You go to edit snippet, and you have the title. So I have got what style of yoga to expect, then a little pipe that takes up the least amount of space, so that's why I use that separator, Hatha Yoga, and then I've got it auto kind of set up to, if there's space, put another pipe in and have Marie Page Yoga afterwards. If this line goes into the red, I've got too much text on that line, so I would probably take out site title and separator there. And then I write a meta description in the hope that Google will pick that up and use that in the search engine results page. So that's for me a little introduction to what people can expect to read about on the page. And again, you want to keep this into green rather than yellow or red. You can also change what is seen on social media here if you like. So I might do a different title and description, a different image for Facebook or Twitter if I wanted to. You just need to remember to update each time. Now we will, I'm not going to go through all the detail of kind of how you set up a WordPress site here. But I did want to show you one more thing, which is my newsletter. Now this is a plugin called Mailster. So Mailster won't come automatically when you upload WordPress. You will need to buy it as a plugin. I think it's about £50. It's not hugely expensive. So remember, I've only started doing this a few weeks ago, and I have brought in 126 subscribers. Very easy to import subscribers in from a CSV, an Excel file, or you can manually add them in, or you can if you've been using something like MailChimp previously, you'll be able to download a CSV file from there and then upload it here. And I've got 4 campaigns going on. So let's have a little look at these and see what they look like. Right, I'm going to look at my back to basics one. So this was sent out. It was sent to 119 people. You can see that 40 of those people opened it. So it was a 33% open rate, 13 clicks, no one subscribes from that. Let's edit that and you can see what I've set up. This is a sort of weekly newsletter that I send out. So the subject, back to basics, you can see the data on here. And this is how it looks. So I've got a little template set up in here. I got my developer designer to do this, but It's not that difficult if you want to do it yourself. You can see the image that I uploaded, the text, you can see the number of, or percentages of clicks, and then the number of clicks I got for each of those. So 10 clicks here, sneak peek at the lesson plan. So that was obviously quite popular. I'm learning quite a lot here. We've then got how many people clicked on the booking app there, and then more people were clicking on the button. So that says to me that actually having a button is a really good idea. And there was a click for each of the Facebook and Instagram links there. And you can see that someone clicked on just on my website link there as well. All right, now say I wanted to create a new email or newsletter to go out, I would just click duplicate, and that will create a new one. So I'd give it a new name up here. So I'm just going to call it new name. And then I want to edit the name of it again. So for the sake of anything else, we're going to call it new name. We'll give it a subject line here. This week's classes. And then there's a pre-header there. Who's it from, the email and everything. And then I can change that image if I want. Click on the image that you've got there already, and then you can choose anything that's in your library in your Media Manager, or click to the Media Manager to upload something new. And you can change the dimensions and things of it if you would like. Very easy to just change the text here. You can put page markup in again, bolds, italics, put in links. You can put bullets, whatever you like there. So I would just update all of this as appropriate, and then click save, click send this campaign, decide which of your lists that it's going to send to, and that's your newsletter done. And it takes me probably less than an hour a week to do that. You know, once I'm in the swing of it, if I've got the assets, the images sorted out, it's very, very quick. So that's the newsletter. I know I'm teaching this in the website module, but I think it's good for you to see what I'm doing within WordPress here. So WordPress is kind of super easy to use, really. It's not difficult at all. Let's just create a new post just so you can see how that all works. So we go to posts and click add new. So let's say we're going to have a post all about hip openers. So I call it hip openers. I'm going to put my text in here. Okay, and you can see that the permalink has come up automatically with hip-openers. So it'll just take whatever's in there. You may want to use that, or you may want to do something else, maybe shorten it a little bit if you've got a longer title. I want to allocate it to a category. So hip openers, I'd probably put that into the yoga postures category. And I put all of my text in here. I might put an H1 kind of heading in there, and then back to paragraph and some more text in here. I want to put an image in here. So you select featured image, and then haven't got any obvious hip opener images here, but let's just select this for want of a better picture, and that's just coming in here. And then I can change my Yoast details from my meta description if I'd like. And then if you want to preview it, you click preview, so you can see what this is like with all my gobbledygook text in. So you see there's the title there. That's my image. I've deliberately not done something that completely fills the page here because I think it's a little bit too large, but you may have a different theme. And then you can see there's my gobbledygook, and you can see my H2 there. These are my different categories in my blog, so they're underneath every post, and the categories are there. And then you can see here is my email data capture device. Okay, so and then if you want to go back to edit it, you can make whatever changes you want, and then you would click publish. So obviously I do not want to do anything with that, so I'm going to move it to the bin. So WordPress is super straightforward, and there's plenty of training for it online. And if you kind of have any problems and you are a member of our Facebook group, you can always ask questions in there because there's lots and lots of WordPress users there that can probably help you out with it. Okay, hopefully you found that little live recording quite helpful. I've talked about your domain name. So this is your URL. This is your www. So first of all, do some competitor research. Make sure that you're not going for a similar name as someone else. You obviously can't have exactly the same domain name because they are unique. If you go to GoDaddy or 123-reg.co.uk, you can search for domain names and you can see what is available, which is unoccupied at the moment, and what is already taken. So you are never going to get, say, yogaclass.com, but you may get mariesyogaclasses.com. So you need to search for something that works for you. One of the principles I think I would say is that you want to have the same domain URL as you have for your Facebook page, perhaps for your Facebook group as well, for your Instagram handle. You don't want lots of different weird variants, which means that people can't actually find who you are, what they're looking for. I would recommend that if you can, you include your geographic location in it. So use your county or London or your town name. And perhaps, if your brand name is your brand name, you can put that in. But if people are searching for yoga classes in Sussex, having Sussex in the brand name and in the URL is going to help you with local search. I would also very strongly suggest that you have the word yoga in the URL. It's just helping Google to tell Google what the site is all about and is corresponding search terms that people are in with the results that they're getting. Other principles: keeping it simple with something short that is easy to spell and remember. And believe me, that is easier said than done. Think about Digiterati.com. Oh my word, what a mouthful to say and spell and remember. When you buy a URL, you can get an email address to go with that domain. So it's normally something like £10 or £20 a year. Photos. Talked a little bit about photos. I would suggest that you do take photos in your class. You will probably want to ask permission for this, and if people don't want pictures taken, maybe ask them to be at the edge of the room so you're not photographing them. Just tell them what you're taking pictures for and why it is really beneficial and helpful for you. You could get the pictures staged of you teaching either on site or somewhere else that is nice. One of the things that I am intending to do is get a professional photographer along to a special one-off class that I will put on free of charge. Everyone will know that they are going to be photographed. They'll get a free class. I'll probably do free coffee and cake afterwards. I'll stage the room so everyone's got the same yoga mat and there's no water bottles and carrier bags and coats and things around the room. And we'll stage a bunch of nice postures so that we look all really nice together, as well as just some informal pictures of the class. Even though you are teaching classes, I think pictures of you doing one-to-one teaching is absolutely fine for photos for the internet. So, you might just get a blank wall at your house and get a friend that you can teach and get someone else to take some pictures. Make sure it's nicely lit and you've got some images that you can use. Get some photos of you yourself in different postures. I've got a whole library of these, just in some forward bends, some back bends, some side bends, in some balancers, etc., so that you've got a good library that you can use when you are perhaps creating blog posts. And the same would go for different Pilates positions as well. So, some stuff in tabletop and, doing clam or whatever else is you Pilates folks do. Stock photography, as I said, is fine. I would suggest looking at pixabay.com. They are all completely free to use and they do have a number, not a huge selection, but they do have a number of yoga photos. I also quite like deposit photos. You pay a little bit for them, but they are not too expensive. Creating pretty graphics. So as I said, I will often theme my classes for a week. So here are 3 examples of that: a week of balancers, a week of twists, and then a week where we went back to basics. So the top 2 photographs are stock photos. And the bottom one is a picture of Annette and I posing together, and I think it looks quite strong, looks quite nice. I've created these in a free program called Canva, canva.com. You could do something similar in PowerPoint, or of course you may have other kind of graphics programs, Illustrator or whatever, if you are up there with the tech. But Canva is nice and simple to use. I'll just show you how that looks. So this is how Canva is. You get some templates that you can use. You can create the size specs that you need. They actually have photos that you can buy for $1 a picture. They have a few free photos in as well, including the odd yoga free photo. You can put different elements in. You can see lots of different font combinations, and you can change the text here. You can put different color backgrounds in, all sorts of things. You just add headings, change the color of these headings, change the size of them, and then you click the download button, and then they will download as a PNG file for you. Super easy to use, and it does start to look a little bit professional, like you've got someone organising your graphics that knows what they're doing. I would strongly suggest that you create these in the right size specifications for the application that you're uploading them to. So you will need to find out what size they should be for your website. Are they needing to be square, rectangular, portrait, and what pixels, so that's what that PX stands for. So what pixel dimension should you have? So we're not looking at sort of 5 inches by 7 inches when we do graphic design. We are talking about pixels. This Facebook size spec is a good base size to go for, 1200 by 628 pixels. That is what this size is. So, or you could do 1200 by 1200, which works well across both Facebook and Instagram. And your website theme may well accommodate those sizes as well. If you're creating an Instagram poster, you want 1080 by 1350. And slightly annoyingly, Eventbrite will, if you put this Facebook image up into Eventbrite, which is an event booking app, you'll find that it'll crop some of it from side to side. So you actually need to recreate that image to a more specific size for Eventbrite, 2160 by 1080. So this is an example of a poster I have created. I've done that actually on PowerPoint. Not difficult at all, particularly if you are remotely familiar with PowerPoint. Finally, with your website, I'd encourage you to think about data capture. Can you have a little pop-up that is there where you invite people to sign up for your mailing list, to get information, to get your newsletter or whatever else you're doing? So that can be just somewhere static on the website, for instance, in the footer or to the side of your blog posts, or you can have it working as a form of a pop-up if you like. Again, your website developer can advise you on these things. Make sure, of course, you are GDPR compliant. Then on the right, this is actually something that I have in my Facebook group. So when people apply to join my group, they are given the question, if you'd like to be added to the mailing list, please provide your email address here. So people are answering that with their email address, and I will be putting them onto my mailing list. So a fairly brief discussion on websites there. I think getting any more detailed into it is just going to be bogging you down with technical stuff that a lot of you will probably not want to be thinking about at all, and actually you'll just be getting a developer friend, or there's plenty of local good website developers that you can ask for help with. Ask us if you want to be recommended to someone, and we can put you in touch with a WordPress or Squarespace developer. I've got a lovely yoga teacher and professional Squarespace developer called Michaela that I can recommend you to if you would like. You're not going to get this done for a couple of £100. You are going to have to invest a bit in it, but I think it's such a key part of the marketing and promotion that you're doing that it is something that is worth investing in early on. We will be back in Module 3 and we will look at local search optimization, so how we can get seen locally in Google search results. So I will see you back in Module 3.